Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here. Breaking news. This one is an important broadcast. We're obviously going to be live streaming tonight at 7 p.m. with our weekly broadcast. But this one could not wait. It seems like the U.S. may have recently struck a Syrian town with white phosphorus. Now this is coming straight from Russian state media and the Russians themselves. Let's read this right now. Two F-15s on Saturday bombed the town of Hygiene, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, with white phosphorus incendiary munitions, banned under the Geneva Convention, according to the Russian Center for Reconciliation in Syria. Following the strikes, large fires were observed in the area. Lieutenant General Vladimir Savchenko said Sunday. There's still no information on casualties caused by the bombing run, he added. I'm going to pause it right there. All right, again, this is not confirmed. However, the state media is claiming right now that the United States has struck Syrian territory. Not only struck Syrian territory, but with white phosphorus. Now, obviously we know that in Idlib right now, it's the last front of any of the quote-unquote terrorists, the people that are in the way of the Syrian regime. And just yesterday, or it was either late yesterday or early today, all Syrian YouTube accounts were banned. Let me repeat that. All Syrian YouTube accounts, all pro-Syrian accounts, banned. Banned off the platform, including Bashar al-Assad's himself. Remember, Nikki Haley, earlier this week, said that if there was a chemical attack in Syria, they would already know who did it, and this is their playbook, and they're getting ready to do one. Well, a state senator just came back, a state senator out of Virginia, and he's claiming that, he sat down with Bashar al-Assad, and that he's claiming they are going to stage a chemical attack, and by they, he thinks it's Britain's MI6. That's what, this is mainline news that is not getting any coverage whatsoever. And take a look, folks. Again, they're saying white phosphorus bombs by the U.S. military, not in Idlib, all right? And so far, it's only in Russian media. The other one's out of The Independent, by the way. This is out of London media. It's pretty crazy. Let's read some of that. Fresh off of a sit-down with Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, Virginia State Senator Richard Black turned up on Arab TV last week, making an extraordinary claim about one of the U.S. closest allies. Mr. Black said Britain's MI6 intelligence service was planning a chemical weapons attack on the Syrian people, which it would then blame on Mr. Assad. Around 4 weeks ago, we knew that British intelligence was working towards a chemical attack in order to blame the Syrian government. He told Syria, Syria responsible. Mr. Black said on Al Mayadeen, an Arab news channel based in Beirut. It's crazy. Mr. Black said later that he meant the British were planning not to carry out an attack themselves, but to either direct rebels to do so or stage a phony attack with actors posing as victims. This is a state senator, folks, in Virginia. This is somebody in the United States. This is somebody of the cloth of Tulsi Gabbard that is the only person in Congress other than Rand Paul speaking out against the Yemen conflict. All right? Do you understand what's going on here? They want a quagmire. We went over this. That is the U.S. goal, is to have a quagmire. And now we have strikes in Syria by U.S. F-15s according to the Russian military. The last time that this popped off, we were able to somehow salvage relations with Russia, and luckily it did not escalate. And that's why we're here. We're at one last stronghold. We've seen the Russians. We're already bombing areas. The military actually put out videos of the bombings. And in the Washington Post, they're saying a person very close to the administration in the administration says, no, the goal is to create a quagmire. That is correct. A quagmire in Syria until they get what they want. And what have they always wanted? This has never been about ISIS or the scary radical Muslims. It's never about that. It's about taking out Assad for a pro-Western leader. They don't like Syria in the BRICS nations. They don't like Syrian relations with Iran, with Russia. It's outside of their little scope of Eurasian power. That's what this is. That's what this is. And you think it's a coincidence that, again, they shut down these YouTube accounts as military strikes began, as the final military strikes began that would have nothing to do and no military benefit whatsoever to use any kind of a chemical attack. Zero. Okay? Zero. That's when YouTube bans them. And why is YouTube banning an entire nation's accounts? And I shouldn't say an entire nation. Not every Syrian citizen is going to have their account saying, but anything they think is pro-Syria or pro-Assad, yeah, it's gone. It's gone. And this is right after the purge on Alex Jones. How do they get away with that? Why would the opposition? Remember, we weren't there to take out Assad. That was our official position of bullshit. Of bullshit. Of thinly veiled bullshit. And I'm sorry I'm getting upset, but I really don't like it when the bombs go off. It makes me upset. So here we are. And do you think it's a coincidence that Mattis is in the Middle East as this is happening? Just arrives in Afghanistan 2 days ago. Surprise visit, surprise! It's James Mad Dog Mattis. You know only good things come when James Mattis is in town. And the other thing is, with the op-ed, with the controversy, if you've seen my work, what I think there, he's also riding around on doomsday bunker planes. What does that tell you? These are full mobile military command centers. That's what Mattis is riding around on right now. The old E-4B, magically on the scene of 9/11. That's right, on the scene of the World Trade Center before the second plane attack. No military aircraft were in the area, though. That's the official stance. Doesn't matter. It got caught on video. Same stance in the Pentagon. Couldn't stop the Pentagon attack, but the E-4B was on the scene. So bizarre. These E-4Bs, or doomsday planes, or COG, continuity of government facilities. Yes, there is a shadow government. It's the COG program. It's admitted. It was activated on 9/11. It was put into place, really rather revamped, by the Dick Cheneys of the world, by the Paul Wolfowitzes of the world, by the Donald Rumsfelds of the world in the 1980s under Reagan. These are facts. These are facts. So warhawks create a system where warhawks today, almost 40 years later, ride around on mobile command centers and magically U.S. airstrikes are alleged to have happened. Okay? And what are they going to say? How are they going to spin this? That the United States is now sending F-15s in. How is this going to be salvaged? Is Trump about to make an announcement? Again, this hasn't been confirmed by anybody but Russian media. But I would imagine that the press, well, that's tough. It's tough since the press is so pro-war in Syria and immediately started attacking Trump when he said it was time to leave and time to get out of there, and we were getting out of there very soon. And the very next week, old chemically attacky happens. Never verified, never proven to even taken place. Forget about who did it. In fact, all the evidence showed it didn't take place. Thank you, Robert Fisk. Thank you, Pearson Sharp, for going there and actually seeing what was happening on the ground. And folks, it's only independent media outlets like this one, by the way, and through you guys' support that we're even able to do this. We're even able to show you this. Right now, not a lot of viewers. This is the backup channel. Hopefully, better viewership over on Facebook, over on Twitter, a.k.a. Periscope. Probably slightly better. But just think about that. How are the alarm bells supposed to be rung if Bashar al-Assad doesn't have a YouTube account? He doesn't have a voice. And the thing is that there are plenty of Western media that have sat down and talked to Assad, and they were doing so before the U.S. got in there militarily, and they didn't want to give him a voice because, hey, he spoke English. He had a mustache. He looked a little bit like your neighbor. He had a nice wife and a family, and he had this nice secular nation that was second world on the verge of being first world. The people actually liked him. These are all things they'll never tell you because he's a despot, he's a dictator, he's a killer, he's a murderer. He chemically attacks his own people, according to Fox News and Lou Dobbs. Hey, Dobbs, you've done some good work in the past. When you have warmonger Jack Keane on, and he tells you 100% they know that it's Assad, and they've proven it's Assad in every single case, talk about bullshit. I mean, that is steeping high. That's a Google search away. And everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. So here we are again. We're in this quagmire with Syria. And, you know, again, I want to show you this article. Let's bring that up in a moment. Where it's admitted they want a quagmire. It is not about jihadists or extremists. It's not about al-Qaeda, the white helmets, versus ISIS, which is also military, with al-Baghdadi meeting with McCain. And you know, we throw McCain a 2-week freaking superhero's farewell. And what was he? An establishment military-industrial complex puppet that sat up there and parroted bullshit to get us entrenched in wars. And he's sitting with the head of ISIS and all these other jihadis. And nobody in the mainstream will touch it. Nobody in the mainstream will touch it. That's the world we live in. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? I mean, unfortunately, you got to believe it because it's reality. That's what reality is. Let's see if I can. I remember it was an Activist Post article. Activist Post. By the way, shout out to Activist Post. They do great work. Is that it? No. Man, I wish I could get it. We went over it last week, but you can look it up. You can check it out yourself. So once again, here we are. U.S. jets strike Syrian town, banned white phosphorus, banned by the Geneva Conventions. Okay, so again, how is the United States going to spin this? I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure what kind of spin we're going to get here. In fact, it's tough because have we ever got the truth from any of our elected officials about Syria? Any of them? Can somebody in the chat tell me about one elected official that's told the truth about Syria, that's come out and said, this is enough. You know, Assad is not gassing his own people. He's not using chemical weapons. Is there anybody? Even Rand? Even Tulsi? I mean, I know Tulsi's done some really good things. She may be the one person out there. I'm very, very unsure. I'm going to go over to, let's see, news and see what we got here. Sorted by date. Still nothing. And, you know, Yahoo's jumping on the train. They're reporting on it now. I'll bring them right over here. Oh, boy. So here we are. Now we just kind of have to wait patiently to see what the response is, what the mainline story is, what CNN starts telling you, what Fox News starts telling you. You can't trust Fox News. All you people out there, you know, with the MAGA hashtag, that's great. I want to make America better. I want to make the world better. I saw, you know, I retweeted Mr. Trump today because he was commenting on the fact that the North Koreans didn't have nuclear missiles in their parade. And that's good stuff. That is progress. That's what I like to see. I like to see a conflict that hasn't gone full military, be resolved through diplomacy, through working together, not through bombs, not through false flag attacks, not through the death of children. Is that so wild for me? So I was like, all right, let's retweet that, Mr. President. So let's do the right thing here. Let's decry anybody who okayed these attacks in Syria. Say we are getting the F out finally. Because there's also reports out there that there's some British and U.S. troops left over. There's like 200 in Idlib. And that doesn't make a lot of sense. If there's British and U.S. troops, aren't you supposed to be fighting ISIS? Why would you be in the same town? Canoodling. But they won't call them terrorists. The rebels or freedom fighters. Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda. Let's be real. That's the deal. That's, and the thing that kills me is the left hates the Trump so much. Go to Twitter right now. See how many leftists are attacking Trump for bombing Syria or allegedly bombing Syria. You're not going to find them. Jim Carrey, what are you doing? I know you want to talk about socialism and you want to attack Huckabee Sanders, and that's okay. She's a White House press secretary. She's paid to lie. I get it. I get it. But and you know what? I did appreciate your Yemen commentary, Mr. Carey. But at the same time, are you going to call him out for this Syrian nonsense? Or are you going to roll with the lie that it's okay because we just say that Bashir al-Assad gasses his own people? I'm not okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. So, you know what? I'm going to wrap up this emergency broadcast. I may go live again if more news comes out, if more things pop off, if there is a response from the administration, from somebody like a James Mattis, from somebody like a Donald Trump. But you can bet that you will be able to hear more of this from myself and Luke coming up on the Sunday broadcast, which starts in about 4 hours. We're going to be covering the week's stories, and believe me, there's plenty, especially with the internet censorship. And remember, the internet censorship of all Syrian state channels. Just in time, I guess, right? Just in time. So, please join us. Set a reminder. We'll be over on the main channel, guys. Spread the word and be the change you want to see in the world, folks, because I'm sick of seeing bombs dropping all over the place. I don't know about you guys, but I am.